This is the plaintiff, Robert Hall. He says the defendant is his ex-wife, and in their divorce, he got their washer and dryer. Since he wasn't using them, he agreed to sell them to the defendant. She promised to pay him back, but of course now refuses. She also stole a dresser from him, and he's here in the name of justice, suing for the $620 he's now owed. This is the defendant, Linda Hall. She says things were good between her and the plaintiff in the beginning of their marriage. But when he physically assaulted her, she called the cops, and that was the end of their life together. As far as the washer-dryer goes, they're hers. He was supposed to pay her for them. He never did, so she still has them. Bottom line, the guy's unruly. He's bothering her, and he must be stopped. She's accused of dissing an ex-husband. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $4,280 for harassment and lost wages.
All parties, please use your right hand.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Hall, you're suing your ex, Mrs. Hall, for $620 that you say she owes you. You have a counterclaim against him for harassment to the tune of $4,280. Let's talk to you first. Mr. Hall, what's going on?
Well, back in December of 2020, my ex-wife and I, we divorced. And
How long had you been married?
15 years.
Okay.
And I moved to another part of the state, and I took a washer and dryer with me. Well,
let me just ask you, when you guys divorced, was there a divorce settlement?
Yeah, we pretty much split proceeds pretty much evenly, and nothing was really said.
So, like, you took the washer dryer, she took something else, and when all was said and done, it was even? Is that what you're saying?
No, actually, I took the washer and dryer, and she took $500 out of a joint account that we still had together. So after proceeds were split up, the washer and dryer we hadn't really discussed who would get the washer and dryer. So I took the washer and dryer, and she took $500 out of a joint account. Now, in the meantime, I overdrafted that account by $180.
Did you guys have a lawyer?
No.
I did.
Yes and no? What?
I did.
You did.
I did
Okay.
not.
In the settlement agreement, the whole point of the settlement agreement is to never have contact again. It's
Yes.
to resolve it once and for all. And the sentence that's in there is, they're going to divide the property but amongst themselves, a personal property. That is like a recipe for disaster.
Exactly.
It should all be divided and accounted for before you guys sign.
Understood.
Because that's the hammer over everyone's head to be reasonable.
Right.
So when was it decided that the dryer would go to him and that you would take $500?
Okay, well, what happened was when I filed for divorce, I told him 3 days after I did, because when I filed, it was his birthday. When I filed for divorce.
Why'd you file on his birthday?
Why did I? It
Yeah.
just so happened to be that day.
You couldn't wait till the next day?
I did get a
No.
happy birthday.
I mean, you couldn't wait till one more day? Why not?
I couldn't, because I found him doing things online that he.
Porn?
Yeah.
He was actually looking for a local girl too.
Okay.
That was what he was on.
Okay.
So I was done.
Yeah.
So I filed. And
Right, but you didn't file the same day you found that out. You waited for his birthday to file.
No, I found out like right then. It was
What's
around
right
his
then?
birthday.
Like you find out on day one, and what day do you file? Day 4? After the day 1? Or what?
I honestly can't say it was 4. it
Okay,
was
whatever.
2.
So you file on his birthday, and then what?
And then I told him 3 days later that I had filed and that I was moving into an apartment because I got myself all, figured out. And he was angry, belligerent. He left. He came home intoxicated and on the couch, and he got angry. I was standing. He jumped up from the couch. He grabbed me around here. He wouldn't let go of me. I couldn't breathe. And he said, "I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to finish this." And I cried,
Complicated.
and he let go. I went into the bedroom and
What's this
locked
got
the
to do
door.
with
Can you
case.
stop?
I'm
If
sorry.
I want to hear it, I want to hear it. Don't talk over her. Go ahead.
Sorry.
So I went to bed and locked myself in, and he fell asleep back on the couch. The next day, we talked because we always did get along. He was like a very good friend of mine, basically. We decided to be civil. So we stayed, and it seemed to be civil. Then I moved out, The thing with the washer and dryer was, that was a Christmas gift to me from him.
Okay.
So when we were talking about moving, I was going into an apartment, so I couldn't take it with me.
All right, so he took it, and then you took $500 from the account. Is
I
that
didn't-
accurate or no?
No.
No. Okay, so you just gave it to him? And
What happened was, he told me he would give me $500 for the washer and dryer, and I said, okay. Well, when it came time for me to be leaving, he was very belligerent. He was refusing to move. The closing got canceled because he would not leave the premises. So as he was being like that, he goes, and I still have to give you $500 for the washer and dryer. And I said, I'm all set. I'm done. And I left.
So you never took the $500 that from a
No.
joint account, but you still had a joint account with him.
We had a joint account.
In fact,
because-
you had a joint account with him for like a year and a half after the divorce.
No, about a year, probably.
Why? Why do you have a joint account a day after the divorce?
Because he didn't know how to do banking. So I
Well,
would.
if your name's on it and you know your name's on it, why don't you do the banking and close it?
I was doing banking for him.
I'm sorry. Why do you have a joint account with your ex-husband 1 year later?
Because
You
we
kept
didn't-
doing his banking?
Yes, because he didn't know how to do it. And then finally, when he.
Who is that guy?
He's my boyfriend.
How did he feel about it?
He wasn't in the picture then.
Okay.
So I just was not trying to be a jerk to him.
Okay,
And
that's
so-
not the same as keeping a joint account.
I know, it was stupid.
All right, so he overdraws the account.
And then I closed it because the bank called me.
Sure.
And they said, what happened? And I explained to the girl, I wasn't using that account. It was his account, basically. I had my own account.
Just get your name off of it.
So I
and maybe
did.
he's a big boy and he should learn how
I
to bank
did.
at the age of, how old are you?
64.
Yeah, he should know how to bank.
I did close the account that day.
Oh.
And I paid the over fee that
All
he
right.
accrued, which I didn't ask him for because I just want him gone.
Okay, so you've now been divorced for 2 years?
Yes.
All right, tell me about what happens with the washer dryer that brings us now into court.
Well, I took the washer and dryer and never used them. And she asked me, I believe in the spring of this year, are you using a washer and dryer? I said, no, I'm not. Would you like them back? Sure. So I packed up the dogs. That's another part of the story. Packed up the dogs in the washer and dryer, delivered them to Linda and her boyfriend. And I was kind enough to even help them bring them into the basement. And after a while, it's like, well, gee, you took $500 out of the joint account, blah, blah, blah.
Did you ever actually witness that she took the $500 out of the joint account?
No, I didn't, because I was already living in Naples and she was still living in Rochester. So
But you could, because it was your bank account, right? Isn't that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
right, exactly.
Right, so can you verify for me here today that she's lying when she says she didn't take the 500?
I can.
Did you guys have kids together?
No.
Okay, so go on.
We had 2 pets.
The 2 pets, all right?
The 2 pets, which I more than willingly let her come and see any time when I was living in Naples. Hey, I'd like to come and see the dogs. Oh, come on out. So shortly after I delivered the dogs in the washing
So
machine.
why were you delivering the dogs to her? What had happened?
Because I didn't want to keep them where I was anymore. It was a bad environment. My roommate was really messy. Anyway,
Okay.
she could accommodate them better.
Okay.
But I had the impression that I could see the dogs. They're like my children. You know?
Okay.
And after that, well, she couldn't let me see them anymore. So,
What did she say to you?
well, she said it was too tough. It was too tough to see her. So
Is this
I haven't been
after or
able- I haven't
before
been able to see
you
the
went to
dogs.
her house banging on the door demanding money for the washer dryer?
I'm sorry?
Is this after or before you went to the house banging on the door that you would not be ignored? Like,
That
when did she
actually-
say, no, you can't keep coming here to see
That
you?
led up to my banging on the door because honestly, it was more about not being able to see the dogs anymore as opposed to the money that I felt that she
Did you
owed me.
ever, when he brought the washer dryer, was there ever any discussion between the two of you about you paying for it?
What he told me was, whatever money we're going to give me for the washer and dryer, which I just let him talk, put that money towards Riley because she has Cushing's. For her, like her food she was putting on.
The dog.
For the dog.
One of the
So I
dogs.
said, okay. And as far as
What's
was-
Cushing's? Tell me about it.
It's a,
Like an
he can
autoimmune?
explain it better.
Okay. So you have to, so put that towards the dog means what? Towards the treatment?
Towards her vet bills, her treatment, she was put on a raw food diet, which is
Okay.
very expensive.
Okay.
So that's what he told me. And I did let him come see the dogs. He came, I could say for sure twice, maybe 3 times.
And then what?
No.
When did you decide that he couldn't come see the dogs anymore?
Because he would make dates to come see them and he wouldn't show up. And I just was tired of him.
That meaning you would wait around, or
Yes.
right?
Such a lie.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the dogs don't know. 'Cause
The dogs
they
don't
speak English.
know.
It's not like with kids when you make dates to see the kids and you don't.
The
keep up
dogs
with-
don't know. And at this point in my life, I went through enough with this man and I want him gone.
Okay. All right. So according to you, you're not supposed to pay for it. I don't know why there would be anything that you would be paying for if you never took the 500 out. I'm kind of really confused about it.
Exactly.
But whatever it is, apparently he did think you were going to pay him something because according to you, what he tells you is put that towards Riley.
In
Did
his
you
mind.
say that?
I originally said that when it was still amicable at that point, okay? And like I said, she was able to see the dogs anytime when I lived in Naples. And then shortly after, and I never made dates to see the dogs. I don't know where she comes up with this. I asked to see the dogs, and I was never allowed to see the dogs after she took custody of them again. So the other part of my lawsuit, are we ready to get to that? Her daughter owns a warehouse space that she has a business out of. And when Linda and I separated, we both brought stuff to her daughter's warehouse. Now, one of the things that we split up was a dresser set.
How do I know that? Normally, I'd look at the divorce decree and figure out who got the dresser, who got the pots and pans, who ate.
Well, that was just an agreement.
No, I know, but
That's-
watch this.
Well-
Did he get the dresser?
No.
Okay.
My daughter asked me to come get him out of her warehouse maybe 4 weeks ago because when he put his stuff in her warehouse, he said it'll only be here maybe 2 months.
And how long has it been in the warehouse?
2 years.
Okay. Are you paying storage?
No.
All right.
I have-
So did the daughter ever tell him, take your stuff out?
She's waiting for this case to be over, and then she will be telling him to
Okay,
get
she
his
just
stuff
needs to
out.
send him a letter saying you
I
have
know.
30 days to take it out. I can no
know.
longer house it if she doesn't want it. And
I understand. She's like,
do they have a relationship?
Yes.
Because he was around 15
Yes.
years. So is that the time she was kind of growing up, or she was already an adult when he came in?
she was a teenager, and he was
Okay.
very good to my kids.
Do you have
so-
a relationship with her now? Like, do you talk to
I haven't talked to Jesse in a while, and I'm sure
What's a while?
It's months.
Okay. But, what's your game plan here on when you're going to take the stuff that you put in that warehouse out?
As soon as I find my own place.
Well, maybe you don't have that option anymore. Maybe you're going to have to pay for a warehouse because
Looks
I'm
like
not
it.
sure. But did you remove all of the stuff, including his stuff? No, right? Like whatever he put there, your daughter still has there.
Oh, yes, it's all.
You're just
there.
saying that the dresser is not one of the things he put there.
So the dressers, I have a statement from my daughter.
Saying that you bought the dresser from her for $150
Exactly, the 2 dressers.
while you were together or after you were apart.
We were together.
Right. So now I'm back to square one, which is, well, who got the dresser and who got the couch and who got that?
Exactly.
Because normally I would look at a schedule of personal property division,
Right.
and I don't have that here. But
Right.
all right. So I have no clue who got the dresser. Do you have any proof that it should be you? Do you have any proof that it should be you? Either one of you have any proof of anything you're saying? Okay, great. All right, so now his clothes was in the dresser, and then you go to the storage room and you find your clothes in bags on the
Yeah,
floor.
I went to get some clothes out of the dresser that I once owned, and there's all my clothes in garbage bags. And where's the dresser? And in the meantime, I asked her daughter, do you know what happened to the dresser? And of course, her daughter says, oh, I don't know. Well, of course she knew. She had to be there when her mother
Maybe she doesn't want to get involved, which she's doing a very bad job at. Because if you don't want to get involved, don't store your mom's ex's stuff. I mean, I have one way to not get involved, which is actually not getting involved.
But she was sort of put in that position when we
There's no put in a
split.
position. All she needs to say is, I don't want to be in that position.
I know.
That's all she has to do. No, I would rather not do that. Especially if things were volatile between you two. It's crazy for her to do that. But I guess she has her own relationship with him and whatever else. But it needs to end. 2 years of free storage is enough. But she's the one who needs to express that to him and then give him
Understood.
time to remove it. All right?
Which is fine. I mean, it's more him saying that dressers are his. When he applied for the first
Yeah, I'm not doing the
order-
dresser. If you guys didn't think it was important enough to hash out in a written agreement during the divorce, then the heck with both of you. What I want to talk about is the washer dryer. But on the dresser, you have no proof that it's yours. On the washer dryer, you say he said, if you're going to give me money towards it, put it towards Riley. He admits he said that. He just feels that he shouldn't have to be bound by that because you aren't letting him see Riley. By the way, and that is accurate that you're done and you don't want to have contact with him.
I don't want to have contact with him ever again. No, I don't.
All right. Then you have a counterclaim against him for $4,280, $4,000 for harassment. What harassment?
Well, this is harassment number one, because the day that I had to go get a restraining order because he was trying to break into my house.
Why were you getting a restraining order?
Because he was beating on our house and trying to get in and outside swearing, and I sent videos. I had the videos
hold on one
of
second.
him.
Hold on one second. Which of these cars is his?
Neither.
I'm on a motorcycle.
Okay.
And it's out at the street. You'd probably
Got it.
can't
Is that
even
him?
see it.
Yes.
That's me.
Okay, be quiet, please. The dogs are outside unleashed?
That's
They're
our
the neighbors, but
Okay.
they go running because he's hitting the door so hard.
Better answer the door. I'm going through it. I can tell you that much right now. What's that? Call the police. Do that.
I'm talking to the neighbor right now.
Better open the goddamn door. Let's get the side of the house and pays me the money she owes me. I'll be great. I'm a little sick and tired of sending her texts for the washer and dryer that I delivered to her. And now we won't answer the door. And I know they're both home. There's her car. Yeah. I'm getting really...
Who are you talking to there?
The neighbor that owns the home that they live in.
Okay.
He walked over after I started banging on the door because his wife was alerted to the fact that I was banging on the door.
Okay.
annoyed with it. When I wanted the washer and dryer. And how long ago was this? This is a few months back. I'll drag her into court if I have to.
Are these the police?
Yes, they are.
Was he still there when the police came or no?
They
He
came
had left-
shortly after, but they crossed
They
him
caught
on
him.
one of
I met them at
cross
the
streets.
corner.
Okay, and what happened there? Nothing, right?
Oh, I got off the motorcycle and shut the bike off, and the second officer said, "Are you Robert?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He goes, "Do you know why I'm here?" I said, "I absolutely do."
Okay, but nobody got arrested or anything
No,
like that?
no, but I had a restraining order sworn against me
Okay,
the
and
next
in
day.
the restraining order, what was it you said in order to get the restraining order? Like, what was your allegation that what?
That he was trying to break into my house, and I had had previous issues with him.
Do you have the restraining order with you?
Yes.
May I see it?
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin. The plaintiff says the defendant stole a dresser that was his and also says that she owes him for a washer-dryer after they split up. But the defendant says the plaintiff is unruly, he's harassing her, and she hopes the judge can get him to stop. Let's go back into the courtroom.
Just so you know, after dinner, I will be stopping by your house to get the money. Linda called 911 for assistance. Talked to an officer on the phone. They said to call them when he gets to her house. He came to the residence uninvited. She then called 911 for assistance a second time. He was striking the door and trying to get into the residence by turning the knob.
Yes.
Were you trying to get in by turning the knob?
No,
Where?
Yes.
I was banging on the door.
I mean,
That's
I
all
hear
was
the
doing.
banging. I don't hear anything about the knob, and I don't
washer.
see anything about the knob.
Right.
All right. Linda's landlord intervened due to hearing how loud he was striking the door. Continued to yell and stated the words to the effect, "Get your lazy blank out here and give me my money." Robert did eventually leave. Blah, blah, blah. Within the next hours, Robert texted Linda and stated the words to the effect, "I hate you. I'll be taking you to court for my money. Andrew is afraid of me." Who's Andrew? Oh, all right. Did you say the words to her on the day that you got the divorce action? Did you say the words to her, "I'm going to finish you"?
Quite honestly, I don't recall that.
Did you call the cops that day?
I went the next morning.
Yeah, right. You didn't
I
call the
was
cops that
afraid. I
day,
went and
right?
locked the door, exactly.
What?
I went in the bedroom and locked the door because he eventually passed out on the couch.
But if you're worried somebody's going to hurt you, why wouldn't you call the cops that night?
I should have.
Okay. There's nothing she said. The only thing that I'm seeing in here that could be false, I don't know, is the door. I didn't hear it, so I don't know. You guys were actually inside when this was going on, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And did you hear the door?
I witnessed
You
it. I
record-
could see it moving.
You could see the.
Yep.
All right. Do you ever talk to him?
Not really, no.
Okay. What is the basis of the $4,000? How did he come up with that figure?
I didn't really have a basis of coming up with that figure. It's just he doesn't stop. When he gets in he can be very calm. But when he gets in the mood to be angry and out of control, he just doesn't stop.
Yeah, you kind of do lose it when you're ignored. And she didn't answer your text, and you lost it. Like,
Well, you know, it was the crickets after text, after text, after text. Nothing but crickets.
she is your ex. Like, you shouldn't have bank accounts together, and
I
you
know.
probably shouldn't have anything to do with each other
Exactly.
anymore.
Well, pay me the money you owe me, and I'll be gone.
Right, you keep saying that. Now let's talk about that. Let's first talk about the balance owed for the washer dryer. You yourself have testified that at the time that you bring it over, you had said to her originally, I'm bringing you the dogs, I'm bringing you the washer dryer, put that money towards treatment for Riley because I know you guys are footing the bill. All right? So when you say that, then now you're telling me, yeah, I said that, but now I changed my mind because she won't let me see the dog. Well, you don't get to change your mind. I'm only here to enforce legal contracts. If there was never an obligation to actually give you $320, because the $320 are supposed to go to the super expensive meals that she's giving a dog that you love, then that's what your agreement was. So let's put all that to a side and let's look at your counterclaim against him. The harassment and the 2 days lost wages. I'm not going to order him to pay you $4,280. In harassment or lost wages. Your remedy is to do what you did. You got a restraining order against him, and now that's it. And now we have the 2 dogs that you gave to her with conditions, you say, because you had always let her see that. There's no custody arrangements. Well, it shouldn't be, and some courts actually do that. But this court doesn't. Dogs are property, and that's something that is just it's the way the chips fell. This is where it fell. She's paying for the treatment of the dog. That's where you told her to put the money, not in your pocket, and you don't have a right to the money. The dresser you can't even prove at all. So on your lawsuit against her, 0. On her claim against you, also 0. This should end it, folks. This should end it.
Yeah, but
all right?
Your Honor, there was $500, okay?
Oh, no, we're not relitigating that. That's my verdict.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have a 0-0 tie here in this case, and nobody gets anything. Let's see what Mr. Hall, Robert Hall, the plaintiff, has to say about it. He'd been suing for $620. He didn't get it. Mr. Hall, what are your thoughts?
I'm not too happy. I thought for sure I had somewhat of a case, but apparently not.
Well, the judge said, you guys had worked it out. You gave her the dogs and the washing machine and the dryer and said put the money toward them. And that's what you did. That was your
and I
agreement.
can't see the dogs anymore, so.
Well,
it's
that
a
wasn't part of
lose-lose
the
for
deal.
me.
So the judge says this should be it. It's over now. Can you accept that?
Absolutely.
All right. You should have no contact. Obviously, you can't.
Well, I have a restraining order, so that makes for a no contact.
That's what I mean, yeah. That's for sure. All right. Well, it wasn't a good day for you in court, so I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
Oh, well.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. So let's see what Linda Hall has to say now. I would imagine she's somewhat relieved. Let's find out. You didn't get $4,000, but the judge says it's over, and perhaps it is.
Absolutely. That's what I was looking for, him to go away.
How about the dogs? You still have the dogs.
I have
they
the dogs.
okay?
They're good. The one's still sick, but she'll be okay. Taking care of her.
Okay. Good enough. Yeah. Well, listen, good luck to you. As I said, the judge said it's over now, so maybe this will give you relief.
It will. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hall. All right. Okay, Harvey.
Okay, Doug. Well, this is a barter situation, and I want to say something. It's always a good idea to have a contract in writing. It just is easier to prove your case if there's a dispute. It is especially important with barter because you're dealing with apples and oranges, and it can get complicated, and if you don't put it in writing, you're going to be in trouble.
I took my car in to fix a leak. I was told it was a motor oil valve gasket. When I went to pick up my car, they had my windows down. I started my car and tried to roll up my windows, and they wouldn't roll up. But my windows were working fine when I took my car to the shop. Should I sue the body shop for the window?
This is an example of the difference between a correlation and actual causation. Okay? She took the car in to have some work done, and all of a sudden the windows don't work. But they weren't working on the windows. So her conclusion is they must have screwed up my windows. But just because there's a correlation doesn't mean there's causation involved. It's like if I go to my doctor because I sprained my ankle and I get a terrible headache while I'm in the examining room. I'm not going to say, hey, you're responsible for my headache. We don't really know, and it's hard to prove that. To actually
It's going to be very hard to prove. I mean,
this has happened to me. I've taken things cars into people to fix problem X, and I leave with problem Y. And I'm like, oh my God.
You have to prove that they caused problem Y rather than that problem Y happened.
Right.
And they had the car when it happened.
Right.
Because I can't imagine that the valve gasket has anything to do with the windows. I guess she's trying to say that her windows were up and then they were down and then they didn't come back up. But then all they would have done was put her windows down.
Right.
Which is a normal use of a window. So where would the negligence be there? If it broke, it's not because of putting the window down.
No, and it can't possibly be related to changing
the valve
head
gasket.
gasket.
So I don't think it's worth filing a lawsuit. I think it's virtually impossible to prove.
I would agree. I mean, first of all, you're going to need an expert. That's expensive. And
you're going to have to find the expert who's going to say, yes, they did that.
Yeah, the windows broke because they changed your head gasket or your valve gasket, whatever it is. Yeah,
Right.
That's a long shot if ever there was one.
Yes.